Holding your breath for 5 seconds is a minor playground game. Losing the world's oxygen for those exact same 5 seconds is an absolute, instantaneous, and irreversible planetary reset. If you ask the average person what would happen during a 5-second global oxygen drought, they will laugh. They will tell you that the human body can easily survive a minute or two without breathing, so a mere 5 seconds would pass completely unnoticed. Our animated friend Bob might even stand there confidently, checking his watch, waiting for the countdown to hit 0. But this is a lethal misunderstanding. Your lungs are actually the safest place to be during this disaster. The true terror of this scenario lies not in biology, but in the sudden violent collapse of basic chemistry and physics. Before Bob's brain can even process the lack of air, the very physical reality supporting his life will disintegrate. First, look up at the sky. If this happens at noon, the bright blue dome above you instantly turns into a pitch black void. The daytime sky is only blue because oxygen molecules scatter high-frequency blue light from the sun in every direction. Without these scattering particles, the atmosphere becomes as dark and empty as deep space, even with the sun still burning brightly in the center of the blackness. But do not stare at the dark sky for too long, because the ground beneath you is about to vanish. Take a look at the nearest concrete wall, building, or road. Concrete is the literal foundation of modern civilization, held together by chemical binders that rely heavily on oxygen compounds. The moment those 5 seconds begin, the oxygen acting as a binder disappears. Instantly, every skyscraper, bridge, highway, and concrete dam loses its structural cohesion. They do not slowly crack or fall over. They immediately crumble into a fine, dry, flowing powder. If Bob is standing inside a room, his entire house will turn to dust in a single heartbeat, leaving him falling through a massive cloud of powdered cement. While Bob is falling, his ears will experience an agonizing shock. Oxygen makes up 21% of our atmosphere. Removing all of it instantly causes a massive, immediate drop in air pressure. This is not a gradual change. It is a violent decompression equivalent to being teleported from sea level to the high altitudes of the Andes in a microsecond. The air inside Bob's inner ears will expand so rapidly that both of his eardrums will instantly rupture and explode. At the same moment, every vehicle on Earth will freeze. Internal combustion engines rely on a precise mix of fuel and oxygen to create the miniature explosions that push pistons. Without oxygen, the fire inside every car, truck, train, and ocean liner dies. Airplanes and helicopters will instantly lose engine power, gliding silently toward the Earth as their engines stall. But perhaps the strangest phenomenon will happen to the metal objects in your pocket. Normally, metals do not fuse together when they touch because a thin layer of oxidation covers their surfaces like a protective coat. Without this barrier, bare metals that touch each other will undergo a process called cold welding. They will instantly fuse together on contact, turning keys, coins, and engine parts into solid, inseparable lumps of single metal. Let us drop down to the deepest layer of this catastrophe, the Earth's crust. The solid ground we walk on is not just rock, it is 46% oxygen by weight. Strip away nearly half of the elemental mass of the crust, and the ground literally loses its mind. The soil, rocks, and tectonic plates beneath Bob will instantly crumble and liquefy, sending everything sliding into a massive, planet-wide sinkhole of freefall. Is there any exception to this absolute destruction? What about the oceans? Water is made of hydrogen and oxygen. If we assume the disaster only removes free, diatomic oxygen gas from the atmosphere, the oceans might remain liquid. But if we remove all oxygen atoms from every compound, the water molecules themselves split. The oceans would instantly turn into highly pressurized hydrogen gas, which would rapidly expand, vaporize, and escape into the cold vacuum of space. Even if we limit this event to just the atmosphere, the 5 seconds of missing oxygen will destroy the ozone layer. The intense, unfiltered ultraviolet radiation from the sun will instantly scorch any exposed skin, leaving Bob with severe, blistering burns. When the 5 seconds finally expire and the oxygen rushes back into the atmosphere, it will not find a recovering civilization. It will find a quiet, scorched, and dusty desert of crumbled concrete, stalled machinery, and fused metal. We tend to think of oxygen merely as a biological fuel, a gas we draw into our lungs to keep our cells alive. In reality, it is the invisible mortar of our physical world. It is the chemical glue holding our buildings together, the protective shield blocking cosmic radiation, and the very foundation of the earth beneath our feet. We walk through it every day, completely unaware of the colossal weight it supports, until the briefest pause reminds us that we are only ever 5 seconds away from total, silent annihilation.